It makes it into a CUV.
Yeah, but
because you couldn't take it off-roading if you tried with rear-wheel drive only.
Rear-wheel drive, that's a big difference. Most CUVs are front-wheel drive standard.
Most CUVs are based on car chassis.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
This is the exception.
Even the early CUVs.
See, now they're starting to experiment.
Here's the front-wheel drive standard.
Okay, here's the thing about Chrysler: they're experimenting, and I like what I see. I'm not saying I don't like it, but the Durango is basically built on top of a Dodge Challenger chassis.
Yeah.
So that's crossover. In my book, the Toyota Matrix, that was a crossover. Considered a crossover.
Yeah, no, I definitely
and that was built on a Toyota Corolla chassis.
I mean, it also, to me, also, I think some of the confusion comes with the fact that I wouldn't even really call early SUVs, like 70s SUVs.
There were no SUVs in the 70s.
Yeah, there was this.
You had the Bronco, that was it.
The Suburban, the Jimmy.
The Suburban was not an SUV.
That's what I'm saying. A lot of people consider those SUVs.
What is your
No, they weren't. They considered them work trucks. There's a big difference.
No, there is old. You can look up old advertisements.
They were work trucks. They weren't SUVs. They were work trucks.
They were called the term.
They were crew trucks.
Started in the
but the thing is, that's more of a marketing term because it has all the DNA of an SUV. You label it.
Technically speaking, yes, and technically speaking, no. Because think about it. It was just a pickup truck with a cover.
Well, that's
at the time.
What an SUV is.
Used to be.
Okay. Well, no, it's not. Because even now, the Escalade.
The 4Runner was just the Tacoma. The 4Runner was just the Tacoma.
The Escalade is all the DNA of the Suburban since it was made.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it is a Suburban.
It is.
Well, there's also another factor of the fact another big thing that muddies the water was the Explorer, the first Explorer, the early Explorer.
The first Explorer was the true. The first Explorer was an SUV.
The first 3 generations of Explorer.
They were SUVs.
Yeah, they didn't.
And they were the only SUVs in the market, technically speaking.
Suburban, it's just an enclosed Ranger.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
No. The first generation of Explorer was not an enclosed Ranger. It was an enclosed F-150.
No, it wasn't.
The second generation wasn't.
That was the Expedition.
It couldn't have been. I thought the Expedition was a 250.
The Expedition didn't come out till 97.
Because the first gen Explorer, you think the Bronco 2 was a Ranger. The first gen Explorer was a Ranger. The
first gen Explorer was built on the F-150 chassis.
No, it was not.
You're confusing the Explorer nameplate with the Explorer trim level on the 80s F-150s.
It might be.
Yes, that's how it started. The Ranger and the Explorer both started out as trim levels for the F-150.
Because as far as I remember, the Bronco and the Ranger are basically the same.
Yes. The Bronco was based on the F-150. The Bronco was an F-150. It was a shortened, enclosed F-150.
The Ranger.
The Ranger started out as its own truck.
A shortened, enclosed F-150 equals Ranger.
Well, no, because
the Ranger started out as its own truck in '83. Then in '86, I think,
here's the thing: wasn't the mid '80s Broncos just a Ranger with a built-on freaking cover?
The Bronco 2 was.
No, the Bronco.
That's what I'm saying.
The Bronco actually arguably started out as the first sport utility because the first Broncos, the first gen Broncos,
then we have to go all the way back to
were not based on any other truck.
Then
the Bronco was its own chassis.
If you want to call the Bronco the first true sport utility, I will say the Willys Jeep CJ was the first sport utility vehicle because it was.
Okay,
that ticked all the marks, and that was the only one to tick all the marks until the late 70s with the AMC.
Aren't you?
Well, no, the Bronco started in 1966.
The Bronco couldn't go everywhere. It could try, but it didn't have all-wheel drive. No, it did not. No, it did not. It did not have all-wheel drive. Not until the 80s.
No, I know that's not true. The Bronco, at the very least, had 4-wheel drive in the 70s. I know that for a fact.
It may have had. I think it was 70.
Solid axle.
Maybe late 70s. But I know for a fact that by the 80s, it definitely did have all-wheel drive.
Well, I know and
the first generation Bronco, the first and second generation Broncos did not have all-wheel drive whatsoever. They had big engines, and they were cheap. That was the selling point.
You're wrong on that. And I know this isn't the best source, but in Forza, the 75 Bronco.
No. We do not speak of Forza. Forza is full of stuff. But like I said, late 70s. 75 would be late 70s, mid to late 70s.
Okay,
I know they had a trim level.
In the late 70s,
they had trim levels.
The first gen Bronco ran until 1977, and in 1977 they went from an independent chassis to the F-150 chassis.
Was it though?
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it was. You're right.
It was. The Bronco was an independent
chassis
from 1966 to 1977.
I stand corrected, but my original statement still rings true. When the Bronco first came out, it was not an SUV. That's my original statement, and it rings true.
How is it not an SUV? Because
it couldn't go everywhere.
Sport utility vehicles aren't real off-roaders.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean,
you can consider it like you can call it a beach cruiser, which is what it was. But a sport utility vehicle is something you can use every day. You wouldn't use a Bronco every day. You couldn't. Same thing as using. It would be the same thing. It would be the same thing as using a Wrangler every day.
Well, that's the Wrangler. It's like a.
There's a Bronco.
Honestly, the Bronco came with a sealed top that was weatherproof with like a permanent hard top.
Yeah, in 75,
and air conditioning. Most Jeeps back in those days couldn't.
In 75, yes, the second generation Bronco, not the first one.
Yeah, the first.
No, the first one did not.
The Bronco has always been a hard top. It had a removable
but
top.
It didn't have a rear. It always had the hard. It was a hard top, a T-top, and it was the. What is it?
No, the Bronco was never a T-top. The Bronco.
You could take the roof off
from 1966 to 1975.
You could take the roof off.
Had a full removable roof.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Not T-top. That's what I mean. That's what I meant.
The one where it came off the back only.
That's what I meant, and I know for a fact that it didn't have heating, it didn't have air conditioning until like 1978, 79. Because they were cheap until 1978, 79, and that's when they got expensive. My father bought one in 79 because it was the same price as a Wrangler with heating and air conditioning.
Yeah.
And it had all-wheel drive.
Well, anyway, I know that those first gen
he still has it, by the way.
I know that those first-gen Broncos had four-wheel drive because I've seen them with four-wheel drive. I've
never seen them, but I don't deny their existence. If they did exist, they were very rare because that would have made them extremely expensive.
I don't think they're rare. I mean, I would say they're as rare as a four-wheel drive Suburban,
which is pretty rare because the four-wheel drive Suburbans were only like 2% of the sales when the Suburban first came out.
Okay, I mean, I thought they were more common than that, but if they were that rare,
people bought them to keep dry because the King Cab pickups where you hang out in the bed all day was kind of wet. That's the reason why the Suburban was such a big thing. It was a 10-passenger truck. It was a crew truck. Yeah. This is where the term crew truck came in.
That's why
this is before the minivan.
That's why the four-wheel drives weren't that popular because the only
this is before the minivan
were logging crews and railroad crews.
But here's the thing: this is before the minivan. You didn't need all-wheel drive. You didn't need to have the capability.
Yeah, but the church van is.
Which is why it's not Which is why I don't consider them sport utility vehicles, because they had the utility, they didn't have the sport.
Yeah, but we had work.
Okay, well, no, sport isn't supposed to mean that the vehicles.
They were work utility vehicles. They were work utility vehicles. You didn't buy them for your family. You bought them for your job.
Yeah.
There you go. There's no sport to that.
You know what I was thinking about? Since the E350 is also based on the Super Duty chassis, what would be the difference between an Expedition being a truck and the E-Series being a truck? Because they're based on the same frame.
I would say probably not much because they're built in the same frame.
Yeah,
And they have this. And
full-size
they
vans
both have all-wheel drive variations.
Full-size vans have always been built on the truck chassis.
Exactly. I would say the reason why they're not considered sport utilities or they're not considered utility vehicles is because they're cargo vans.
I mean, the only reason
they would think of.
They just have like a sedan style door because you consider an SUV like this is a very stupid ass argument, by the way, that that an SUV is a sedan version of a van.
No, you couldn't make that argument.
But I mean, there's always been automotive outliers. I mean, like if you look at today, like a low slung, high riding SUV, like those Sportback SUVs that Mercedes is putting out now.
You mean the shit?
You could argue that the AMC Eagle started that.
Yes, they did, and they did it better.
Can you believe that?
I don't know if I'd say better.
They did it better. Okay, so you would buy a G Coupe. So you would buy a G Coupe for $180,000.
Well, they don't start off at 180. They just work their way up to that
very quickly.
First of all, the G-Wagon.
No, I mean, I wouldn't. Mercedes is a bad example. I mean, I would buy.
Well, that's the best example. That's the best example of the stupidity. That is the best example of the stupidity these days.
No, because there's also the ML, the GL, and the R class that doesn't exist.
That's what I was saying. The GL. You would seriously buy a GL?
I like the GL.
If I could afford one, yeah.
No, I wouldn't.
To drive every day, if I could afford one, if I had a choice.
I'm talking about that stupid coupe thing. That basically the C class with a fucking C class with a lifter kit.
If you give me the choice, if money wasn't an issue, and you gave me the choice between daily driving an AMC Eagle and a Mercedes GL, I'd pick the Mercedes GL. That'd be a lot easier to live with.
Why?
Because it has more.
You look like an idiot. You look like a fucking idiot that has too much money on their hands. That's dead serious.
Well, yeah,
let's be honest here.
Like someone comfortably driving in a Mercedes
for the same fucking price, you can get an S class.
Well, it's
we're not talking about the S class. We're talking about a comparison of the AMC Eagle and the Mercedes GL.
Well,
the AMC Eagle makes sense. The GL just looks stupid.
Well, the whole concept of a crossover is you're not fucking up your back because cars are a pain in the ass.
Yeah, what? I mean, I get the broad appeal of crossovers. I mean,
there is no appeal. Car, it's a manufactured appeal.
No, that's what it's not. No.
Everybody makes crossovers, and only crossovers. The last time I seen a brand new sedan was for like.
Do you want to know
Cadillac? Maybe.
Do you know why the crossovers
are?
No,
Buick has the LaCrosse, and that's I still consider that.
Yeah, but it's Buick.
You know what? You're gonna not like me for this, but the crossover is a natural progression of cars.
Oh, it definitely is.
Maybe I can see that. I don't like it, but I can definitely see it.
Because you go from a stand-up position to a sit-down position without the drop. So you're more.
The crossover is the epitome of focus group marketing. It is taking what everyone wants and putting it. It is the epitome of does everything, perfects nothing.
Well, the thing is, cars weren't. First of all, average sedans weren't that great to begin with. So why are we protecting them? Just let them go. Crossovers are better.
I don't care about sedans. I care about my coupes. I care about my sports cars. I care about the tried and trues. I care about the tried and trues.
Because to be honest, I thought about it.
For instance.
Because I was like, well, I'm kind of sad that the show's leaving, but now they're bringing the Edge ST, and I'm like, is the Edge ST really worse in the show? It's really not.
Listen, the Ford Taurus is an iconic nameplate.
It's no longer needed, though.
But it is needed.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I wouldn't really call the Taurus iconic. I would say it's a recognizable nameplate.
And it is iconic. It was the first modern car to come out of America.
Yeah, but
I guess that's true. Yeah, it was. I mean, when you look back, that car was.
It was the modern American car for a very long time, for 20 years.
Well, here's the thing: people wanted cars, and then when the SUV market took over.
They wanted SUVs, and now they want CUVs.
But the thing is, a crossover is what's good about a car, and what is really what you want out of an SUV. Not what's good about an
You know what that's
SUV.
called, though, Jared?
What?
A station wagon.
No, because
Yes, an all-wheel drive station wagon.
Wagon, it still has the seating.
It's a Subaru Outback, dude.
Yeah, but it has
that's what it is.
No, but a station wagon has the seating position of a car.
It's a Subaru Outback
of a car, because a station wagon is just a high back.
Because you're thinking of it only in the fact of storage space. You also have to consider seating position. Seating position was the only reason why SUVs took off. That was it.
Honestly, when you talk to average car buyers, like people who aren't into cars, like even like my own parents, my parents like talk about like the reason they don't buy cars. They say it's the seating position. They said basically like, oh, we got our first minivan and we could never go back. We need a high seating position. And now my dad's daily is a fucking Chevy Colorado.
I would honestly say I understand what the seating positions. However, I have to point out that most CUVs are not great economy cars, and that's where sedans and coupes still have relevance.
But your average consumer is willing to give up a few MPG for the utility of the extra cargo space.
This is true until you look at companies like Honda and Toyota that still outsell their Corolla, sell out their Corollas like hotcakes, the Corollas and Civics.
Yeah, because I think that's more because those cars have such an ingrained reputation of reliability, whether or not that's still true.
If that was the case,
drives the sale of those cars.
No, but if that was the case, the Matrix would still be in production.
What?
Well, the Matrix.
If that was the case, the Matrix would be still in production.
The Matrix was a station wagon. It wasn't really a crossover.
No, it was a crossover. It was Toyota coined the term crossover with the Matrix.
Well, no, because
it was not.
They don't need the Matrix
I have
anymore.
one.
The RAV4.
It was tall. It was taller than the Corolla.
The RAV4.
It was taller than the Corolla.
The RAV4 is better.
And it actually could go off road.
Yeah,
the XRS version could go off road.
The RAV4 is better.
Yeah, and then say it wasn't.
That's what you don't need. But you don't need both.
The RAV4 was still an SUV when the Matrix came out.
Yeah, and then they got it didn't need to be because it wasn't. There was no point to it. So
my point was, if crossovers was really what everybody wanted, the Matrix was the epitome of the crossover at one time. It really was. You had everything you needed in it. Yeah, it was good on gas. It had ample storage. The seating position was nice and high, and on top of that, it was reliable as hell. My father has my old Matrix, and he has 500,000 miles already. Well, 500,000 miles.
The Matrix was still closer to a car than it was a crossover. I mean, yes.
Well, the front of it was a car. The back of it was a RAV4.
Calling the Matrix a crossover is like calling the Dodge Caliber a crossover.
I didn't call the Matrix a crossover. Toyota did. They coined the term.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not a.
But they made the term.
Still back when crossover was still a new term.
Yeah, but it's
no. They made it.
It's not the modern interpretation of a crossover. The RAV4, which is better now than it always has been, has a better seating position.
Let me ask you a question, Jared.
Options, and they just built a.
Okay, I agree with you, but how is it a RAV4? What's the original RAV4?
The RAV4.
A two-door, two-wheel drive, sporty SUV. That's when it first came out.
Yeah, but it was also
it was a competitor. It was a competitor for the
Blazer.
It was a competitor for that that tiny SUV craze. It was
the Kia
a competitor
Sportage
the Kia Sportage,
and the Tracker.
Yeah, the Tracker.
But the Tracker was a body-on-frame vehicle. It was an SUV.
Was the Tracker body on frame?
Yes, it was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's the first gen Kia Sportage.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
They were baby SUVs. They were
I know the Samurai was, because the Samurai was pretty rudimentary.
Well, the Escape was if I don't remember the Escape, the
Escape was always unibody.
Well, the Escape was unibody. I've had two
Tracker of them. And the Isuzu, I believe. Then Suzuki started making them, and then I think the RAV4 was supposed to compete with whatever Suzuki was making.
Yeah, well, even
and then
well, the thing about the RAV4, getting back to my point on the RAV4, getting back to my point on the RAV4,
the first gen,
you take it
was front wheel drive.
No, forget about the first gen. Look at the first iteration of the Matrix, 2003. You look at a 2003 RAV4. Okay, they shared the same market space at the time. They were both considered economical crossover utility vehicles, especially the RAV4 with its two-wheel drive base model. They sold for about the same price. There was like $500 difference between the two. Now you look at the RAV4 today, it's more like the 4Runner used to be.
Let me throw a curveball at you. What is the Scion XB?
It's a Daihatsu.
No, but what is it, though? What is it? What market segment is that supposed to be for?
In Japan, it would be a cargo van.
You know what? I have an answer for you. The Scion XB is exactly what the HHR and the PT Cruiser are.
Garbage? Yeah.
Old people transportation. That's what it is.
The PT Cruiser, it's not.
Don't even start, Jared.
The PT Cruiser is one of the most glorious automotive anomalies we've ever had.
The HHR was the same thing. It was
the PT Cruiser tried to bring back the Woody, okay? The PT Cruiser tried to bring back the Woody.
Honestly, I unironically like Woody PT Cruisers.
I don't.
They're the best looking ones, but I'm saying they tried to bring back that craze with real wood.
But right now we resent. At this point in history, we resent the PT Cruiser, but we cannot forget how much fucking craze it was when it first came out, and that there was a.
Just remember this: the PT Cruiser was Chrysler's answer to the after the K car question.
Do you want to know why I hate the PT Cruiser?
They replaced the K car, which is better.
Because it started a retro craze that did not need to happen. It started with the Prowler, then the PT Cruiser, and then Chevy went, I want to be a part of this, and then that fucking SSR showed up.
But the SSR, I have to admit, I like the SSR.
Remember that. Then that led to the 2005 Mustang, which brought back the retro muscle car trend.
And then the HHRSS showed up. The HHRSS panel wagon. And you know what's funny is the guy the guy who made the PT Cruiser got fired, went to GM and built the same fucking car.
I know, that's the best story. I fucking love that. Like Chevy was.
But here's the thing. Let's think of it this way: the SSR. Is it interesting to look at?
And you want to know what's really fucked up about the PT Cruiser? It's making a comeback now because they're bargain basement, and everyone went, "Oh, that's right. This came with an SRT4 motor." So now they're making a resurgence all over again.
Yeah.
So now there's 700 horsepower at PT Cruiser showing up on YouTube, and I'm like, "Oh fuck, no, not again."
The only thing that sucks about the PT Cruiser for a regular car, and I don't know how it is down there, but up here in Canada, because the PT Cruiser can't really fit into a regular box, the Automotive Registry or whatever of Canada classifies the PT Cruiser as a light truck, and it is in a higher insurance bracket.
You know what?
I could see. Wait. I could see a PT Cruiser as a light truck because you can take the seats out of them.
To insure a PT Cruiser as it does.
You want to know? You want to know what's fucked up?
A fucking Dodge Neon.
Chrysler did that on purpose.
Yeah, they really did.
The same thing with the HHR. The HHR panel wagon on paper
is a panel truck. It's a panel truck. It's meant to look like a panel truck in the 1940s, and it works just like a panel truck.
Yeah. Honestly, I worked with a guy who owned an HHR, and he loved it. Apparently, they're
good trucks. They're legitimately good cars.
It's a Cobalt and a Neon.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. They're legitimately good cars. It's the styling that we don't like.
Cobalt is a great car.
It's the styling we don't like.
I wouldn't call it a great car.
No,
it's a decent car.
The Cobalt is a decent fucking car.
Now the Cobalt. Wait a minute. Now you're in Canada. You shouldn't be saying that at all.
Why?
The Cobalt has a bad reputation in Canada.
I drove a Cobalt for work for 6 months, and I beat the fucking shit out of it, and it never broke down on me.
No, the thing about the Cobalt was you could take the key out of the damn thing by mistake while you're driving, and all the safety systems would go away. It was the biggest recall in Canadian history.
Oh,
2.7 million cars.
That wasn't an issue with the car I drove, and I've never.
You want to know a little secret? It didn't start with the Cobalt. It started with the Grand Am.
Yeah, technically speaking, it started with the Grand Am, but the Cobalt was when the issue became public.
Some could say that the Grand Am was the beginning of the end for pre-bailout American automotive.
Wait a minute now. I liked the Grand Am as a rule.
No, you will not get on this podcast to defend the Grand Am. No, you are not defending the Ram Air.
Wait. Hear me out.
The worst of the
Hear me out. Hear me out. For Pontiac, it should have stayed. And it should have been
the worst of Pontiac. It was the worst Pontiac.
I'm not saying it was the best Pontiac. I'm just saying I understanded it. It was like the fucking
No.
I would drive.
It was like, what was it? What was the GM version of it?
W body Pontiac Bonnevilles before I would drive a Grand Am.
Well,
I don't know. Like I said, I liked the Grand Am. I loved the Grand Prix. It was just something about the car. Maybe because it was my first car. I liked it. But the Grand Prix, I loved the Grand Prix. Don't even talk shit about the Grand Prix.
The Grand Am and the Grand Prix are like, at this point, for people in our generation, that's like the quintessential first car.
Not the Grand Prix. I wouldn't give a Grand Prix to my kid, well, especially not a good one.
I am a disciple of the Regal. Even in the G body platform, I prefer the Regal. W body platform, I prefer the Regal.
And I'm biased.
Well, the Regals are.
My first car was a '92 Regal. I have a huge soft spot for W body Buicks.
Yeah, I have no problem with W body Buicks. I like the Buicks as a rule.
Oh, yeah.
For
Buick, the
early to mid '90s Buick, amazing. I love them.
How much Buick was fucking killing it in the '90s. With no hint of irony and with complete seriousness, the 92 to 96 Buick LeSabre is one of the best looking cars ever made.
I agree.
You know what?
My girlfriend's car. You know
what? To be honest, Buick between the mid '80s and all the way into like early 2000s.
No,
that was the best of GM's front wheel drive.
Late '80s,
because
late '80s,
basically the era of the 3800.
Okay, yes, but it was the late '80s where Buick finally got something good.
The Regal was the best of the G body. The Regal was the best of the W body because not only was the 3800, the L67 Regal looks nicer than the Grand Prix and everything else on that platform. The Frost Super is a better use of the 5.3, the LS4. It's a better looking car.
No, honestly, when I went to New Mexico to visit Mike, and I drove his '92 LeSabre, I think I want to buy one of those cars.
Was it blue?
In the next 5 years, I might buy a '90s LeSabre.
Was it blue?
No, his is it's like a champagne gold.
Oh God. It was the baby powder blue and the champagne gold were the most popular colors for some reason. My grandmother, my mother's
my '92 Regal was silver.
My father had a Regal Roadmaster. It was like a station wagon version of a Regal.
What?
Like the smaller station wagon that Buick used to make, besides the Roadmaster.
I've never heard of that.
Jared knows. He's thinking about it right now. He's seen them before because they existed. It was like an '87 or '88 at the time, and that thing. Oh, he put like 400,000 miles in that damn thing, and the motor is still going.
Well,
I'm not getting any Google results for it.
Just type in '80s Buick station wagons. It might have been. It actually might have been a '90s car too. It might have been a '90s car. But it was like late '80s, very early '90s.
'90s Buick station wagon. Oh, do you mean the Century?
Yeah. The Century, that's it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Century came in.
we had a 02 Century.
I remember when your grandma used to have that car. That was a nice Buick.
Oh God! We put 6. Okay, apparently when it says 6-seater, they only meant 4 adults and 2 children. You put 6 adults in that thing going to the auto show.
I don't know, Jared. I mean, ours had a bench seat in the front. We could fit 4 fully grown adults in the front.
Yeah, mine was a split bench, and I put 6 adults in that car once.
No,
Yeah,
exactly. It had front and rear bench, but that front bench was meant for like a kid. It was not meant for an adult.
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't comfortable. You should see. I fit once in a while. I fit 3 adults in the front seat of my Ranger, and that's a tight squeeze.
I mean,
that's a Ranger, though.
Can do it though, but not like a full size truck, but not in that thing. Oh my god, that was.
I remember renting.
Your other hand is trapped.
I remember my brother bought a 2500 series Ram pickup from like the mid '90s, and it had a bench seat in the front, and he stuck 5 fully grown people in the front. And it was like a clown car because he got the crew cab version. It was like, how the fuck did you fit 5 people in the front of that truck?
Yeah, my Ranger is technically supposed to seat 5 because it's got 3 seats in the front and then it's got.
But the best part was it was a manual transmission. How the hell are you shifting gears?
Oh god, some guy's like reaching into his tank to shift it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, all right, I need 3.
I gotta shift it in reverse. You hit your friend in the balls.
The only way I could think about it working was the middle guy, the poor soul, would have to shift the gear lever himself.
And
have to bury it into his own nuts every time.
A manual Mazda B2200, and he would do that with her. Like he'd press the clutch and get her to shift for him.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was the longest shift in the world. Like, forward, where's forward? Middle and down. How do I get in the middle? Let it go and then pull it down. Just jam it in there. Just jam it in there.
This is how we all learn manual transmissions, by shifting gear for our father.
When I bought my first manual vehicle, I never had anyone to teach me how to drive stick. I watched a YouTube video on how to drive stick.
How many clutches did you do? Did you go through?
Was an '88 Toyota pickup, and I bought it.
Oh, you had the best one.
That was my first
manual. You had the best vehicle to learn. Then you can't break those things. They're really hard to break.
Yeah.
My father had an '88 Datsun pickup, and that thing was hauling cement before he bought it. It had like 250,000 miles. And he bought the damn thing, and it had the same clutch and the same fluid in it since it came out of the factory in '87.
Yeah, no, this
one. He never changed the fluid. He never changed the clutch.
What I had was a 4x4, and it had 320,000 kilometers on it. So that thing was, you know, you can watch the Top Gear thing about how those things are indestructible, but when those things have that much miles on them, there's not much left of them.
That's not true. Like I said, my father's pickup.
That truck I had was more fiberglass than metal.
No, it was metal. Like literally, I opened the gate, the bed gate one time, and it just disintegrated in my hand. That was the only bit of rust in the truck.
That's the famous.
That was the only bit of rust.
The frames just give out one day. It just goes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Tacoma.
That's exactly what happened. He took a pothole wrong one time in upstate New York, and the whole thing folded.
Well, I know those.
But he sold the truck. He sold the truck like that, and somebody rebuilt it.
Pre-Tacoma pickup trucks didn't have that issue. Those things had good frames.
It was Toyota. We're talking about Datsun here. Datsun was not known for their chicken tax trucks. They were known for other things. I mean, their light duties were terrible.
So I wouldn't know.
All right, I'm laying down too. Fuck this.
The only friggin' light duty truck that I know of any mention that's Nissan is the Sunny. And you're never going to see those over here because nobody knows what they are.
I'm trying to think of what's the good Nissan pickup truck. I mean,
the Sunny and the Datsun. That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't even know what the 720, but I mean,
I don't even know what the hell that Datsun was called.
720, the 6. It
was like the
680. The Datsun 680 was the 70s Toyota or Nissan pickup with the round headlights, and the 720 was the 80s one with the square headlights.
Yeah, but the 720 was also very tall. This one was like almost like a B2000.
Well, no, that was the thing with all of those 80s Japanese pickup trucks. The 4x4s sat high, and the two-wheel drive ones sat really low.
Okay, so it was a 780 then.
Yeah, because if you look at like a 4x4 Toyota pickup truck next to a 2x4 or 4x2 Toyota pickup truck, you can't even, like, the body panels are even different. I found that out when I owned my 4x4 that you can't swap two-wheel drive body panels onto a four-wheel drive Toyota. They're different body panels.
Well, it's because the 4x4 system was actually just physically bigger, wasn't it?
I know
everything was bigger.
Mostly the fenders, because the fenders were wider. The fenders.
That's what I'm saying. Everything with the actual components themselves were bigger.
yeah, because the axles stuck out farther. Yeah.
Yeah, because that was back before they had the self-locking hubs. That's back when you had to get out and lock the hubs by yourselves.
Yeah, mine had manual locking hubs, but
I can't stand.
Mine also. I didn't luck out. I couldn't get a solid axle Toyota pickup truck, so mine was independent front.
I mean, those are the better trucks, to be fair. Like, even though you have to lock them by yourself, it's still better.
For me, off-roading, I consider off-roading to be more like rock crawling, like slowly, and solid axles are better for that. I mean, on-road, yeah, independent front is better.
But we're talking about the average Joe here.
Yeah.
Like, your average person is never going to go rock climbing in their 1980s Toyota pickup.
I prefer the durability and traction of solid axle. Well, because with solid axle, you get the counter action of the axle, whereas with independent, you can pick up one side of the front end, and it's not really going to push the other side down, so you're technically getting less traction. Which is what I don't like.
But you're also getting more traction in most situations with that setup.
Most situations, yeah. If for regular
you're like a very niche
regular on-road
situation,
use, independent is better. But for strict off-road use, solid axle is better.
I mean, I know the Hummer kind of argue with that one.
I've heard the Hummer isn't. I've seen guys trying to flex Hummers, and you just can't do it. They don't, in uneven terrain, Hummers don't get the same traction as a solid axle.
They're not meant to. They're meant to just go.
Yeah, they're meant to
get through it.
Yeah, they're meant to go across rough terrain at high speed. They're not meant to.
No. They can crawl. It depends on what version you have. It really does. If you have the military version, it can crawl through it. If you have the civilian Hummer, can't do it. The civilian Hummers get stuck.
Those military ones off-road, and they just don't have the flex of a solid axle.
Well,
they don't need the flex. They have other things to deal with it.
Yeah.
Systems that they don't care if it breaks or not. Like, for instance, the lowering tire pressure, the central tire inflation system, the bane of the civilian Hummer's existence.
That's not the only people that has that.
I'm just saying that's what gives it an advantage. That's what gives it an advantage.
The videos of, like, them doing
how to get stuck
trucks on uneven surfaces. If you do it with an independent truck, there's less deflection in the frame, because if you even look at, like, the F-150s and the Rams, they do this between the cab and the box. If you're ever independent, you're physically, that part of the suspension is actually picking up and not deflecting the rest of the truck.
Yeah.
Because all that's
think about a live axle.
I miss the old twin I-beam Ford trucks. I think that twin I-beam
shit
was a good
terrible.
It was terrible.
A good compromise between independent and solid axle. I like.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a good compromise. It was a cheap compromise. I mean, let's be fair here. Let's be fair.
Destroying camber with every bump. You would just create these weird. It was completely terrible for tire wear.
Like, exactly, you would be going through tires every 20,000 miles instead of every 80,000 miles with that kind of a truck.
This stupid scissor style suspension where it's like,
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying the independent suspension on the Hummer is much better, but in terms of off-roading, buying an off-roader that's very capable from out the box.
Oh.
You can't get much better than a Hummer.
I've heard now that those Humvees are coming onto the civilian market, I've heard a lot of military guys warning people away from them, saying
yes,
that
the ones that were built less than 20 years ago. Yes, the original Humvees have long since gone.
Oh,
the new ones suck.
GM is finally gonna catch up with Ford. The new Escalade is independent rear suspension.
Oh,
it's an Escalade, so nobody cares really.
Yeah, but the Expedition's been doing that for how many years now?
I don't care about an Escalade, Jared.
If I remember correctly, it was the second gen Expedition that started with the independent rear. So the second gen Expedition would have been.
Don't you pour salt? Damn it! Don't you pour salt on the damn Escalade? That was what the best of the. I think that's what James bread and butter is as far as Cadillac.
Well, that's because it's the cheapest luxury American luxury SUV in the market.
Well,
isn't the
yeah, but
they start out the Escalade starts at 89.
Yeah, but doesn't
the Navigator starts at 100.
No, the Navigator can be optioned to 100, but it doesn't start at 100. It
starts at 100.
Yeah, but the Escalade is still more of a truck than Land Rover would be, or Porsche, or.
Well, Porsche and Land Rover are more like crossovers now. Well, Land Rover is a sport. Land Rover is a sport.
The Range Rover is still a very capable.
Yes, the Range Rover probably be the best off-road you can buy today.
Because the thing is, an Escalade is still a option.
But an Escalade is just a Suburban. With chrome rims. That's all it is.
I would argue that if you wanted to buy the most comfortable, capable off-road vehicle on the market today,
Range Rover,
it'd be stupid not to buy the Land Cruiser.
Well,
you buy the Range Rover.
The Escalade.
Let the Land Cruiser be number 2.
The Escalade. The reason the Escalade exists is to tow horse trailers and boats, and because it's the only.
No, that's what the EXT was for.
Well, the EXT was just the back chopped off of it. It's still the same frame.
That was, but here's the thing. That's like made more sense to do that.
1500.
Yeah, but it's part of the only luxury SUV lineup that's still technically a truck. Everything else is in the truck. The only thing left in there is the Navigator. The Navigator.
So you got the Yukon. The Yukons too.
It's all on the what are they up to now? Is it the GMT 800 platform now?
Yeah,
it's all on that platform.
Yeah, exactly. If you're going to say it's the only, you have to put the GMC and you have to put the Suburban in the same category.
Also, if Escalade's going
with
IRS,
options, they all become the same price with options.
That means the whole lineup's going IRS, including the Tahoe.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're all
we can't say. We can't say one is this without saying the other three is the same thing. Because
technically, the Escalade is slightly distinct, and same with the Yukon Denali. I think it's optional in the Yukon Denali.
Do you know what separates Cadillac from the Yukon?
I was going to say
engine. The engine.
Nope.
Oh no, wait. That's right. They use the same engine now. It used to be the engine and the options you can get. Now they all get the same thing.
The Escalade had the standard motor. It was still always optional on the other trucks.
Well, I'm saying fully optioned out. The other two trucks were just the same.
The Sierra.
But my point was the Yukon and the Escalade were basically the same exact truck, except one started out $15,000 cheaper.
Well, it's because GMC is the work truck part of the line, Chevy is the civilian line, and Escalade is the luxury
Are you really
line.
going to say that the GMC Yukon is a work truck?
It's marketing.
It's an image thing, okay? That's what it is. It's people who want the luxury of an Escalade but don't want to show off, or the people that want
the luxury of an Escalade and
want to show off.
That's like saying the Ford Raptor is a work truck.
It is a work truck. It is.
I've seen them used as work trucks. Don't laugh at that.
I have never.
No.
I have never seen them used as work trucks.
They make special editions for Border Patrol. They are technically work trucks.
Yes, there are.
They're patrol. That makes them police vehicles then. That'll be SSPs.
Border Patrol.
They would be Ford Raptor SSPs.
I've also seen them used as company vehicles for oil exploration companies and logging companies.
Border Patrol is technically military, isn't it?
No, it's a police department.
Border Patrol
it's police.
is...
It's part of DHS.
They're not interceptors, though. They're
like the FBI police. You ever seen the FBI police cars?
So basically, they're Secret Service in that category.
Yeah, they're under DHS, under Department of the Interior.
All right, fine. It's still technically.
So they're cops. They're
still
law enforcement.
I thought. Well, wait, aren't there? Doesn't the U.S. Forestry Service have some Raptors?
Yes, they do, but they're used in what they're actually built for, going fast off road.
Yeah. So it's a work truck. It just your work.
But it's not a work truck. It's more like a rally truck.
It's a work truck in the sense that your work involves having to go
it's
to
it's
really harsh off-road environment.
It's a road legal trophy truck is what it is.
It's not a trophy truck. Not a trophy truck.
It's a road legal trophy truck.
Needing a truck in situations where you need that kind of suspension travel.
Okay, first of all, the Raptor is a trophy truck the same way a WRX is a rally car.
That's a fair comparison.
But that is a fair comparison, though.
No, but the point is that a WRX is not a rally car, not even close.
The
new ones aren't. The older ones, maybe.
They never were.
First of all, the older ones were worse. At least those. First of all, that's the draft here.
The 22B was the closest you got to a road legal rally car.
Okay.
And the 203s.
That's back when rally
and
cars
the 203s.
Okay.
And the 203s.
Rally cars were actually spec.
Yeah, but what's
and the 203s.
Okay, the WRX is as far as North American soil is concerned, is not a rally car.
It's not. I wouldn't even call it a WRX at this point. I would just call it an Outback and be done with it.
It's not an Outback, though. It's not even
it is an Outback.
It's on the same chassis.
It's an Outback. It's what the Outback used to be.
Okay, first of all, the WRX, since we got it in, 03? It's not really. No, we got it in, 99?
The Outback had a WRX version.
As far as I know, the WRX began being imported to America in 98.
No. The WRX first came to the United States in 95. Because we had the GC8s. We had GC8s.
I don't know if that's right. I'm almost positive because I remember Motor Week did an episode on the WRX when it first came to America, and I'm almost positive it was Motor Week.
No, they did an episode on the STI. We've had WRXs before we had STIs.
Oh no, wait, no.
The STIs didn't come into the States until 2000.
The Impreza that came in 98.
Yes, the Impreza came in 98, but the WRX nameplate was attached to everything.
RS was an NA 2.5.
That was what, 2003?
That was early. We got the Bug Eye in 03, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I think that was the first WRX that came to America. That
was the first STI.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That was the first WRX STI. The first WRX to come to America was GC8. And technically speaking, we had Outback WRX, but you never see the pictures of those. Technically speaking, there was an Outback with an STI badge on it that used to be sold from the dealers. So technically speaking, the Bug Eye was not the first STI, even though it is the first true STI to be released. The other one was just a paint, which is weird, but it still doesn't negate what I was saying, that this generation WRX and Evo are more closer to what the Outback was trying to be, or the Forester even.
Well, to be honest, the current WRX really isn't vastly different than the Bug Eye we got. It's just better at everything.
But it's not.
Okay, first of all, you talk about the Glass Mission. That it was a good car, but it was only meant to drive through the snow, maybe do a little dirt, and that's it. That's what the new WRX does.
Drive through the snow?
Yeah.
I don't think it can go too much snow.
That was what Subaru built its name on, was cars that was 4-wheel drive cars, basically.
Okay, first of all, the whole term rally car which has been haunting me ever since I bought the damn Evo, is everyone's like, "Oh, it's a rally car." No, it's not. It is not a rally car. That is a 600 horsepower seam welded car with Lexan and a roll cage.
No. Rally cars don't make 600 horsepower. We're not talking about Group A.
Okay,
Group
my
A,
point is,
Group A went away in the
they're like,
80s.
dude,
Okay, sir?
Dude, you like haul ass in the gravel? I'm like, no, I can't
You
afford
could.
Oh yeah, and rip all the undercoating off under that car, and I can't afford
No. You can make that car a rally car for less than 10,000.
I am not a rally.
Not that you would.
I don't have. First of all, you act like I have a racing trailer full of engines and suspensions.
You don't need a racing trailer. You can keep it road legal. You know the difference between a road legal car and a rally car? It's just interior trim. But essentially, that was the whole marketing thing about the Evos was they were as close as you can get to a rally car without being a rally car.
Okay. They are rally-inspired cars.
But they can also do the off-road bit.
They can do some of it, maybe like a quarter of it.
The Evo 10 that you have can't do shit. But the Evo 8, 7, 6, and 5 could.
What are you talking about?
The Evo 10 that you have is the city version of what the Evo used to be. The Evo 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
okay.
4
No. First
could
of all,
do off-roading.
The Evo 8 is not a homologation car. Okay?
It doesn't need to be.
It's not a homologation car.
It doesn't need to be. For my point to stand. It doesn't need to be.
It doesn't have the long travel suspension. It doesn't have the wheels and tires. It doesn't have the brakes. It doesn't have the motor of a rally competition car. If you see what a World Rallycross, real World Rallycross STI looks like and what they sell at the dealership, it is not the same thing. It looks like it, but everything in between is not the same. It's not.
It's inspired by, and it can do light off-road work. I've seen them do it. I've seen Evos go through 5 foot deep sand. I've seen Evos go through 10 feet of snow.
You do
it can
realize,
do it.
Okay. You know there's like a whole list of steps in between them getting a production car from the factory, the race team doing all the conversions, all the
I'm not saying that Evo is a fucking purposely built rally car that you can just buy off the factory. No,
it's not even the same chassis. Those cars get stripped.
Yeah, they're not the same chassis. What my point being was that Evo was the only one that was not just a track car. It could do light duty off-roading.
Okay. That is open to
And I say off-roading with quotations. That's not the off-roading we're thinking of with trucks. I'm talking about going through some mud at 40 miles an hour.
You mean like dirt autocross? That's not.
Yes, that's what I was saying. That's what I was.
I do not consider dirt roads off-roading.
But it is off-roading.
It's not. Okay.
Especially when you're going faster than 50 miles an hour.
No. When people think of Colin McRae, they think of doing 130 to the forest, doing 20-foot jumps. You're not doing that in any WRX or Mitsubishi or Ford sold in America. Maybe a Raptor, but Raptor is closer to what it's supposed to be than anything else that was designed for dirt.
Even a Raptor. The Raptor is the closest thing to a factory.
It's a Baja. It's a Baja truck.
It is a
road legal trophy truck.
It's a Baja inspired truck.
It is a road legal Baja truck. Is what it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
When Ford did the marketing for it, they're like, yeah, we went to do trophy trucks. We did trophy truck competitions. We did that. We talked to Fox. We got the suspension. And then everyone started bending frames. They're like, what the fuck? And then they're like, no, we didn't mean that literally.
But, okay, listen.
Like Ford made that big thing about how, like, oh, we won our class in the Baja 1000. Yeah, they just neglected to say that their class was the fucking, like, factory class.
I mean, but let's just get it out of the way. It's still very capable.
It is the most
capable truck that you can buy from a factory. Yes, you could in theory enter it in the Baja 1000.
It's not a trophy truck.
You could make it into one very easily.
No, you couldn't. It does not have. You cannot physically put the trailing arm suspension of a trophy truck in a standard pickup truck because a trophy truck does not have a bed. The bed of a trophy truck is
suspension.
A space.
I know what it is
for the fucking suspension.
Yes, I know what it is. I've seen them. But what I'm trying to get at is the fact that it's the closest thing you could buy that does a facsimile of what trophy trucks do.
The things that we buy at the dealership right now are a simulacra. It's
a facsimile. It's called a facsimile.
Simulacra is an acceptable term for that.
Because it's not quite what we were. It's not quite that. I mean, it's
let's just put it this way: the 2018 Ford Raptor is nothing what the 2010 Ford Raptor was. It's the watered down version of the 2010, in my opinion.
Well, it's not. Well, it's better.
No, I would say that it's just as capable. It's the same suspension.
I don't know. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen this latest generation do anything.
They walked back the graphics as they went. We really don't need all these fucking graphics, and they cost too much to make. So unless they want them and they want to pay for them, they ain't getting them.
Yeah, no, and I like how the newer Raptors are a bit more subtle. There's a guy in my city that runs around with a Raptor with the those, they're not Steelies, but they're just kind of like flat spoked wheels that the Raptors come with, and he's got it in like a matte gray. And at a glance, you would not know it's a Raptor. You have to know what a new Raptor looks like. And I like it. It's really subtle.
I like subtleness. But at the same time, it's so subtle, it doesn't look capable anymore.
Well, the thing is,
I haven't heard anything about them being less capable.
I haven't either, but I haven't seen anything that shows me they are still capable.
The thing is, they have the brand recognition now to the point where the Raptor.
It's been a decade, so
Raptors and Hellcats don't really need to be promoted the way they used to because they're already recognized. They're iconic already.
Yeah, they don't have anything to prove.
Historically speaking, from American manufacturer standards, that means they start slacking.
Yeah, but they're no longer a niche truck.
But that still means they start slacking.
I can sit down at any lunch table and say I bought a Ford Raptor. They know what I'm talking about.
Well, okay, let's go back to luxury trucks. The first generation Escalade. There was no plastic in that thing.
What do you mean
there was no plastic in it?
I don't believe that.
There was
first generation
one
Escalade
piece of plastic, and that was the horn button.
All right. First of all, let's clear something right up. Are you sitting here and telling me that a '90s GM vehicle didn't have any plastic
compared to what it is today?
Those air conditioning button knobs weren't fucking plastic
compared to what it was compared to today.
Well, first of all, there was less.
It actually had real wood at one point. It had real wood in it at one point.
Probably in one spot.
It had real wood, real leather.
Okay.
And it was actually a decently built car.
Okay. Well, first of all, it's a GM truck. I mean, you're asking for a lot here.
Not really, not for $100,000.
It still had that dumb 90s GM steering wheel where it's the big thin spoke thing.
Well, I'm not saying it didn't. I'm just saying that leather was real, though.
Okay,
that was real sheepskin leather. And it was soft.
That truck has always been plastic hell. As long as I've been alive. I have no idea.
But it's not it wasn't as in your face plastic as this new one is.
No, I call bullshit.
First of all, that's such the soft touch material on the dashboard, which was just foam that was painted. I mean,
was it foam that was painted though? I've never been in one, so I couldn't tell you.
You never been in one?
No, I've never been in one.
Okay.
My family's owned them.
Have you been
My grandmother owned one from the beginning until she died in 2017.
If you've sat in a GMC Denali, you've sat in an Escalade. It's the same truck.
Oh my god, I'm looking. I Google imaged 1999 Escalade interior. It's just a fucking Tahoe. Oh my god, there's so much plastic.
Oh,
So much black plastic everywhere. Plastic vents, plastic cup
That's the
holders,
standard
plastic
one.
knobs.
They came in different trim levels.
Oh, you want to know how lazy GM is? Look up a 99 GMC Denali and then look up a 99 Escalade. They only changed the badges on the grill, the rear tailgate, and the steering wheel. There are no more identifying qualities to those two trucks. That is it. That is
Oh my
it.
god, you're right. It is. It's the exact same interior. It's the exact same.
I think the hubcap, the steering
but
wheel, the tailgate, and the front grill.
Look up a brand new Yukon Denali today versus an Escalade today.
Okay.
They changed the dash.
The dash between the two cars, I think the new fucking Cadillac dash looks cheaper than the Yukon's dash.
GMC Denali interior. It's a lot of leather wrapped plastic and stuff. And
I'm not saying it's not plastic. I'm just saying the Yukon interior looks better than the Escalade's interior. The Escalade's interior looks like crap.
Well, first of all, I think you're raising the bar way too high.
No, the Cadillac one looks way better.
You raised
different strokes, I guess.
That center console, that waterfall design on the center console is way better. There's
different strokes, I guess.
Stuff
different
on it,
strokes,
the
I guess.
stitching on it, and the fake wood. That is a good interior. That's bullshit.
Now compare that to the Navigator.
Well, no, the Escalator's in a whole other league. You even said that before. That
wait. The Escalade is $10,000 cheaper than the Navigator, at least.
Okay. Even I'm not even going to argue with that. The Navigator is the best luxury SUV on the market.
That's right.
Now.
Thank
you.
Lincoln is the best luxury car in the world right now, in my opinion.
I don't know about that one.
It's the most comfort you can get outside Rolls-Royce.
No, if saying SUVs, yes, the Navigator's killing it right now. If you're talking
SUVs,
about
cars,
lineup of luxury
SUVs
cars,
and cars,
no,
actually.
that's Lexus. Lexus is the best.
No, absolutely not.
If you're gonna buy a GM luxury, you have to have a firm grip on reality.
Look up Lincoln Continental versus what is Lexus's luxury car? The LS 430?
That's a Ford Fusion with some shit on it.
But it's not though. It's a legitimately nice car. Like
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the
I would put it on the same level as Rolls-Royce in terms of interior comfort.
No.
In terms of interior comfort, I would put it in the same level as Rolls-Royce.
No, I've sat in one before. It's a nice
new
car.
One?
It is not. I've sat in one.
You sat in the back seat.
Actually, I was going to bring that up. I've sat in the back seat of a Lincoln Continental.
Yes.
The back seat of a Lincoln Continental is
really, really good. It's as close you can get to a Rolls-Royce.
No, that is bullshit. The back
How
seat
is
of
it
a
bullshit?
Lincoln Continental has no headroom. There is no headroom in the back of that car.
I'm 6'5", and I fit it pretty good.
My head was touching the roof.
Are you telling me that a Lincoln Continental is on par with a Phantom?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're out of your goddamn.
I'm not even joking. The last time I was in a Phantom was a 2014 Phantom.
I'm about to turn this off.
Okay.
You're fucking tripping.
No. Okay, for the price.
No.
A Phantom is $500,000.
If you told me a Lincoln Continental is the same rear seat quality as a Lexus LX or LS 460, I would still call bullshit.
Okay, first of all,
it's better.
You can't use the word Phantom and then say for the money. It doesn't go together. No one is cross shopping a Continental.
Should I just say
Phantom.
Bentley then?
Nobody.
Should I say Bentley? Should I say Mercedes Benz? Should I say fucking BMW 7 Series? What should I
The
say
only
here?
car on the market right now, that is any comparison to the luxury of a Rolls-Royce is the Toyota Century.
Yo, you know what?
Bullshit.
Here.
Bullshit.
I bet you $1,000 cash.
Bentley. Mulsanne.
I bet you $1,000 that you.
But that's the same. That's the same chassis.
Not the same. It is not the same. It is not the same.
It's the same
Completely
chassis.
different cars. No, it's not. Completely different chassis as
right,
well.
no,
Who is cross shopping a?
I forgot that Rolls-Royce doesn't own Bentley anymore.
Now, what I'm trying to say is when I'm saying it is in the Lincoln Continental is an every man's Phantom.
I want you
Mm-hmm.
to get P. Diddy to cross shop between a Rolls Royce Ghost and a fucking Continental.
Listen. You can make fun of me all you want to. I hate Lincolns.
He's
like legitimately. If you were talking to me 5 years ago, I would make so much fun of the car.
Popcorn machine.
I can't make fun of this one. I really cannot. I really cannot. I can't make fun of this one. I can't. I just can't do it. I can't make fun of it. I really can't. Sorry.
Stop, please.
Like the Lincoln Continental.
I'm 400 fucking pounds. I mean, like, and I was more comfortable in the Continental than I was in the Rolls Royce.
Because Rolls Royce,
I drove it.
That's not a good comparison. No.
I have more legroom.
Yeah, it does have reclining rear
and more headroom.
No, because the rear slopes back.
I had more headroom in that fucking Continental than I did in that 2014 Rolls Royce.
First of all, my Scientist C has reclining rear seats. That's not a good. That's like standard stuff now.
I mean, like the legroom. I will admit, it has more legroom than any other modern sedan, other than the Rolls Royce.
Yeah, even it gives the Rolls Royce run for its money. I think it's a half an inch difference.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I'm looking at these seats, and I mean, like they are
the most advanced seats in the market. They are. They took that from Rolls Royce. They really did. It's on par, if not better.
It's on par, if not better. Trim level you get, because I'm seeing Continentals here that just have rear bench seats as well.
Well, we're not talking about those. We're talking about the top of the line $120,000.
I
didn't sit in one of those. I sat in one in an auto show.
See?
I want you. So are you telling me that you can go work for Lincoln and you're gonna convert all of Beverly Hills to Continentals? You're gonna have a whole.
I'm not a fan. Jared. Before we get on this tangent, I am not a big fan of the exterior. I am not. But the interior and the comfort, like I said,
I think the exterior
is the most comfortable car outside of Rolls-Royce.
Here's the problem with the Continental. The only problem with your argument. Ford let it become part of the Uber fleet.
Yeah, which was a good thing. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. It takes all
consider it a good thing. People get spoiled by it.
Yeah, but it's part of the Uber Lyft fleet. It's a cab now. It's not even a limousine.
Well, that's the way it used to. That's the way it always was.
Yeah, I mean, remember
the Continentals and town cars were always cabs.
Yeah, to be fair, town cars were always taxis too.
They're trying to bring back the nostalgia of a mid '90s limousine.
It was a front wheel drive based car. Now they're bringing.
I mean, I'm not saying. Like I said, I'm not. I'm not a fan of the exterior.
It won 100.
I am not a fan of the exterior. It is just a Fusion. When it all boils down to it, it is just a Fusion. However, for the price, comparing it to, say, a top-of-the-line S-Class, which is comparable to a top-of-the-line Rolls-Royce.
It's funny because they're going to do suicide doors, so they're going to hack up a Fusion body to put suicide doors in it.
That's what they did. And it works.
Is the Continental suicide doors the new one?
Yeah, the new one has suicide.
What the fuck?
I thought those were illegal. I thought those were
they're not illegal. Not anymore.
It's a limited run.
But still, that being said, it's literally. I would say it's on par. It's on par. At least it was on par with a Bentley. It's at least on par with a Bentley, if not better. Because it legitimately.
I'll agree with you on that, only because Bentley's gone downhill in the last 20 years.
Well, Bentley has gone more sport, but that's beside the point.
Well, Bentley
that's still beside the point.
Parts been with VAG. That's probably why.
Yeah,
that's still beside the point. Bentley costs what? The cheapest Bentley is what, $200,000?
No, you can get
for a luxury Bentley, not a sport Bentley, a luxury Bentley.
They really don't have anything but the Continental G. Oh.
They have the Mulsanne.
Well, the Mulsanne is just a stretched
$350,000. And the Bentley Continental is supposedly their luxury sport-esque
Do they still
car.
make the Flying Spur?
Yes, they do. Actually,
no, the Mulsanne replaced all their sedans.
No, it didn't. The Flying Spur is still made. They still make the Flying Spur trim level. It's a trim level now. It's a trim level, I believe.
Okay, because I don't really know Bentley's lineup anymore. I
didn't know they made the Mulsanne until Doug DeMuro did a video on it. So, I'll be honest, I did not know about the Mulsanne.
To be honest, the only thing in Bentley's lineup that I really liked is the badge.
I'm on the Bentley website, and it is showing me that at least on Bentley's website, the Mulsanne and the Flying Spur
is it .ca?
Different. They're two different models.
Is it .ca?
No, it's BentleyMotors.com.
Okay, and what were you saying? What's a different model?
The Mulsanne and the Flying Spur. When you go to the models,
yeah, they're two different models. I said I thought it was a trim level, but they are two different models. The Flying Spur is slightly smaller than the Mulsanne.
If you flip between them, there's different pictures.
The body it's like a Phantom versus a Ghost.
Yeah.
Same basic thing. But the Flying Spur, I think the new Flying Spur is considerably sport-oriented compared to the Mulsanne. And that used to not be the case.
Oh my God, this is hilarious.
All I know is that the Bentley dealer in Atlanta has 15 Flying Spurs, and they already sold out of them.
Who the fuck is buying those things?
No idea. But probably the Hawks. They're overpaid anyway, so I guess they can afford it.
Well, I mean, oh, that's right. I guess ballers got to draft something.
I know the Lamborghini dealer in Atlanta ran out of cars, which is kind of funny. I don't understand who bought all those cars.
Well, there's a lot of rap money in Atlanta.
Yeah, I guess.
Holy shit! The fucking the Bentley Mulsanne Speed.
It's like $500,000.
I was gonna say it has 811 pound-feet of torque.
Yeah, it's 575 horsepower and 800 something pound-feet of torque. Last I checked.
No, it says here the horsepower is 530.
Oh, okay. That's close.
What is it? W12. So yeah, there's torque for days.
It's W16.
No, it's W12.
Is it W12? That was a W16.
No,
I know in the Mulsanne it's listed as a W12. All I know is it says here the engine size is 6.
Should say sufficient.
No, they're not gonna let them tap into that.
No, it's 6 3/4 liters. It's a standard size. Same thing with Rolls Royce, 6 3/4 liters.
They're not. First of all, if you ever seen the W16, I think it's massive. That's not gonna fit. It barely fits the Bugatti, let alone it's going in something else.
I thought it was a V12 though.
No, they're doing W's.
Yeah, it's 6 3/4. 6 3/4 liter.
Yeah, it's not 6.75 liter. It's
Rolls
6 3/4.
Royce does 12
with
B's,
sufficient power and torque. That's what the brochure used to read. I don't know what it reads now.
It says 530 horsepower at 4,000 RPM.
Yeah, it's not supposed to say that. When you're buying a luxury car, even a luxury Bentley, that figure should be the last thing on your mind.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, the Mulsanne Speed, it's just a V8. The Flying Spur had a W12 option. Let me go.
Now I know the Mulsanne also is like 8,000 pounds, but still goes 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. But still, if you were to compare the features of a Mulsanne and the features of a fully decked out Continental, there's not much different.
The W12 Flying Spur is 626 horsepower and 605 pound-feet of torque.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm talking about the interior luxury items. Look up the interior. Look your items of the Mulsanne.
I mean, I'm looking at the advertising pictures at the promotional photos on the website here. It looks pretty fucking good.
It's really good. Now you compare that to the fully decked out Continental, and the comfort.
No, the attention to detail here. There's no comparison.
I'm not comparing the attention to detail. That's like comparing apples to oranges.
What about the Bentley Q7?
You mean the Bentayga?
No, that's the Bentley Q7 right there. Because you know what's funny is they did the Bentayga.
What the fuck is the Bentayga hybrid? What the fuck?
What?
Yeah.
Bentayga
hybrid.
What the fuck? I was so mad when I saw they kept the Q7 greenhouse. I'm like, really, guys, you lazy shits.
Who owned Volkswagen owns Bentley?
Yes.
Yeah, Volkswagen owns Bentley. Yeah.
400. It's a 443 horsepower V6 hybrid engine.
What? What?
To be honest, it's better than Volvo. They're doing a twin charge 4-cylinder for a full size SUV.
That's okay though. At least they're not ripping off a BMW badge, putting a Toyota badge on it. Getting to the Supra now.
Oh God!
Why can nothing please you people? Toyota is bringing back another sports car, and you're fucking complaining.
I'm complaining about the spirit of the car. It's the spirit of the car I don't like. Okay?
Off the Celica. We liked that front-wheel drive sports car. Well, here, have this TC. Oh, fuck you, Toyota. That's gay. What the fuck?
The first generation TC was gay. I'm sorry, Jared.
No, it wasn't. It's a front-wheel drive sports car.
I got first of all.
That's what you wanted.
My chassis is the better one. What are you talking about?
No.
Yours is overweight. And you got
see, Jared, I don't care. It's all about aesthetics. I'd rather be seen in mine.
Are you talking about the presence in your fucking fake Celica?
I don't give a shit. It's not. Firstly, the TC is never meant to a Celica. We can all agree on that one. We don't know what it was made for.
It is a Celica. It uses this.
It's not a Celica because the Celica was still being made when the first one came out.
What was it?
No,
the Celica stopped manufacturing in 07.
No, it wasn't. The Celica died in 05.
The Celica did not go that long.
The Celica died in 07.
The Celica did not die in 07. There is no 07
yes, it
Celica.
Did.
There's no 07.
Yes, it was.
No, there's
yes,
not.
It was.
No, it's not.
Oh my God. According to Wikipedia, production of the Celica was from 1970 until 2006.
Told you.
Why?
Yeah, but the first.
Wait, when did the Scion TC come out?
2004.
05.
No,
2004. The first model year was 05.
2004. The first model year was 04. They started building in 03.
Nope. Production was started in 2004, but the first model year was 2005.
I thought it was 2004. I think there was pre-sales. There had been pre-sales. I've seen a few on the streets.
Oh no,
yeah, because they start selling the model year the year before. So there were 2005s on the street in 2004.
There you go.
Okay, first of all, the TC has the same brakes as the Celica. It shares similar suspension to the Celica.
They shared components because that was they shared components because that was
the architecture is the same.
And the Celica was not selling in America at the time. However, the Celica was still very popular in Europe and Japan.
Wait. You can't say the Celica was in the same production cycle as the TC if it
just did.
It died in America.
You just did.
No, also by the way, only the United States got the first gen TC. Even Canada didn't get the first gen TC.
Yeah, no,
that's right, because Canada didn't want it.
Because you know what's funny is I posted a picture of it. And then Cody and my other friend went, "What the fuck is that?" And I went to Scion TC. They're like, "What the fuck is a Scion?" And I went, "It's Toyota's."
Well, that's okay.
Getting off track for a second, American mind fuck of two cars that were produced at the same time as each other. The Chevy Cobalt and the Chevy Cavalier.
Well,
yes.
What's funny is that the Cobalt really is actually
a Cavalier.
It shares. I think it shares some of the platform.
It shares the whole. It shares everything except for the body style.
It's not a Cavalier. The Chevy Cobalt is a different platform.
No, it's basically a Cavalier. It's basically a Cimarron, which is a Cavalier.
Fuck off.
No.
Yes. The Cadillac
Cimarron is the Cavalier. Yes, a Cimarron is the Cadillac.
The Cobalt was the replacement to the Cimarron.
It was the
in Chevy's lineup.
What are you talking about? The Cimarron was only in production for like 5 years in the 80s.
It was 85 to 92.
Yeah, and the Cobalt came out.
And the Cobalt came out in 97. 97 was the first. No, Cobalt came out in 97, but they didn't produce it in 2005. The concept of the Cobalt came out in 97.
That's a concept. That's completely different.
No. Listen, let me get.
I actually remember the Super Bowl ad for the Cobalt. They actually, it was a Cobalt SS bumping into a C6.
Yeah. The Cobalt was never called a Cobalt until later. Well, originally it was supposed to be a Cavalier SS.
Well, actually, it's actually the Opel Astra, if you want to be technical.
Yeah, technically speaking, it was the Opel Astra. But still, getting back to what I'm saying, it is a Cavalier in spirit. It replaced the Cavalier officially.
Yeah, but that's like calling the Dart a neon. It looks like a neon, but it's not a fucking neon.
It is a neon.
No, it's not.
Technically speaking, it is the replacement of the neon, the spiritual replacement. Spiritually, it is.
It is a Italian clusterfuck with a
I'm not saying it's not
neon body on it.
The Cobalt is the Delta platform.
It's the Vauxhall and the Opel Astra.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Also the true. HHR.
Yes.
Yeah, also the HHR.
But it is not.
And the SSR.
The Delta platform has nothing in common with the Cavalier.
I think so.
The SSR is a Trailblazer.
I thought it was a Delta platform.
The SSR is the Trailblazer platform. How are you putting an LS in a fucking Delta platform?
Well, I've seen it done, but that's beside the point.
No, the SSR is a Trailblazer. It's the 5.3 and the 6.0. It's literally the Trailblazer SS drivetrain.
Listen, Jared, it's 4 o'clock in the morning right now. But yeah, still going back to what I was saying. The Cobalt and the Cavalier are spirit brothers or spirit animals to each other.
Okay, first of all, they're not mythical creatures. They're a fucking hunk of metal.
But they're spirit. They're the same car in spirit. Doesn't matter. The Cobalt replaced the Cavalier. It's the same car. Spiritually speaking. That's like saying the TC is a replacement of the Celica. That's exactly the same thing.
Chevy Citation of the same
car. It didn't replace the Celica.
But they're not the same car.
Okay, first of all, the Celica. Okay, first of all,
Let's hear how the first generation TC is the Celica. Let's hear this.
It's the replacement, but they're not.
It's not.
The thing is, they actually share components. That's my point.
Well, that's and my point was they share components because it was on the shelf.
Okay, first of all, GM overlaps models too. They were doing the new Impala and the Impala Classic at the same time.
That was on purpose. That was completely on purpose because they wanted to appeal.
Okay, it wasn't on accident. This is all planned. The
Celica and the TC, the Celica and the TC were an accident.
The factory turned on. They're still pumping out Sunfires.
No. Here's the thing: the Celica production and TC production were completely by accident. Toyota were already making Celicas for that model year before Scion was even announced to be a thing. And then they announced it, and they said, hey, Scion needs a nice little peppy car for the youth that looks cool and sporty. Let's just make it a Celica. Oh, wait, we can't. And that's why you see a lot of part integration between the Celica and the TC. The TC was its own platform, but it used off-the-shelf parts.
Okay, first of all, it wasn't even supposed to be called the TC, it was actually supposed to be called the XC, but Volvo threw a shit fit, so they just
Yes.
switched it to TC because touring coupe. The only
And
thing,
no, but TC doesn't mean anything. Toyota's come out and said this several times. TC stands for nothing.
no, they literally
It
said
literally said it stands for nothing. They said that.
Said touring
They
coupe.
said that. No. The head of Scion himself, the CEO, before he left, said TC stood for nothing. It never stood for anything.
You are getting on my nerves. You're gonna make me look this up.
TC stands for nothing.
What?
I'm already trying to look it up.
TC stands.
You're gonna see three things. Three things to come out: Touring Coupe, Toyota Celica, and Toyota Camry. That's the three most things you're gonna see come up because nobody knows what it stands for. But the CEO himself came out and said it stood for nothing.
TC is considered the spiritual successor to the Toyota Celica in North America, made to appeal to the millennial market. The name TC stands for Touring Coupe, and there's a citation with that.
What's the citation say?
The citation is...
Who said it? Because the head of Scion himself, before it went bye-bye, said it stood for nothing.
It's from an article on CarBuzz. Let me see what
CarBuzz. What's their source for it?
I'm trying to look.
I've never heard of CarBuzz. This is why you don't use Wikipedia.
Well, that's why I'm checking the sources before I commit to this.
Yeah, I don't think CarBuzz is a real thing. It's a real publication.
I'm looking at their fucking website. I'm on the article.
No, I'm saying I don't think they're a reputable publication.
That's why I'm checking to see if it's quoted by someone.
We're wasting precious recording time talking about this.
Well, we're not. We can agree to disagree that it probably, if it stood for anything at one point, stood for car or touring coupe. Can we agree to disagree on that?
First of all, we've wasted 15 minutes talking about Scion TCs.
It's 12 and a half, but still.
Yeah, but we're still going. That's my point. Okay, are we actually gonna have a real conversation about the Supra? Because this is programmed.
Yes, the Supra is quite.
We have 34 minutes left.
The Supra is not important anymore.
What is something you don't like about the Toyota Supra, other than the fact that it is based on the BMW Z4?
That's all.
What is something you specifically
I'm going to answer
don't like
your question with a question. I'm going to answer your question with a question. Ready? What does the GTR and the NSX have in common?
They're all-wheel drive at $100,000.
And what's the power figure?
5 something.
500 to 600 horsepower.
How much do those cars cost?
You can get a base model GTR for $85,000.
No, you can't.
You can.
That car is more than $80,000.
It starts MSRP is $80,000, if I remember correctly.
You're thinking? Are you thinking of when it first came out?
Maybe.
You know, that was 10 years ago.
No, it was 8 years ago. 2010.
Okay, the MSRP is $99,999.
Less than 100.
The Pure, which is a fancy way of saying base, or we call it the Pure, whatever.
But still,
the other one's called the Tainted.
The reason I don't like the Supra when it comes to the other two cars, because when the Supra was only a thing, the Mark IV Supra, the GTR 34, and the NSX Type S, all three of those cars were in the same league, in the same. They're basically the same, just a different iteration of the same of the same template. It was. They said here. They just think of it this way: V6 car that goes fast, and that's very nimble. All three of those cars check those marks for the time. Now you're asking me to justify paying upwards of $85,000, because you know that $65,000 MSRP is going to get jacked up.
Okay.
you're asking me to pay close to $100,000 for a car.
Do you want to know what my only gripe with that car is?
And the fact that it's not a Japanese car.
I have two gripes with the Supra. One, they told me that they didn't have what they needed to make the car, and then meanwhile, Lexus next door is doing victory laps. They're like, "Yo,
yep,
we got this long touring coupe, and we're gonna." It's 90 grand. It makes 470 horsepower. I'm like, all right, cool.
And people are already
the Supra. And they're like, we're gonna help BMW help us because we don't know what the fuck we're doing. All right, cool. Like she's like, we got a twin turbo LC500 coming with wings and canards, and I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? Y'all on some bullshit.
This is the stupidity of Supra. What they should have done was take the Supra, the 86 nameplate, got rid of it, and called this the 86.
The only thing I have a problem with it is, the only real issue I have with it is $50,000 and it makes 330 horsepower. Do you not know what I can buy in America for 50 grand? Do you know what 50 grand with a Ford or GM is?
It's a Corvette or a Mustang with a lot of horsepower.
You're pissing me off.
I mean, like 50. Well, what trim level Corvette can you get for 50 grand? I mean, you're talking that's still like base model Corvette.
Even the base model Corvette has more than 330 horsepower.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. You're not getting like the best Corvette.
You don't need the best.
You're getting like a 430 horsepower Corvette for that kind of money.
You can get a grand. You can get a what is it?
Grand Sport.
You can get a Grand Sport. If you really want to look.
I thought it ended with the C6.
You can get a C6 Grand Sport for less than $30,000.
I'm talking a new Corvette.
No, I don't give a shit about new Corvette. To be fair,
that's the point where
I don't like that car either.
New cars you could buy.
For 50,
then you have to compare it with a Mustang. You have to compare it with a Mustang.
GT350, $59,000.
There you go.
So yeah.
That's a much better deal.
Now I can go to Lebanon Performance and order a brand new 727 horsepower Mustang for $39,999. 40 grand. I walk out with all that power. Now,
shit. What does the Hellcat start at?
75.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
75.
Low 70s. It's low 70s. No, but you can get incentives on a Hellcat now.
You can get a freaking Charger Hellcat, which is like 80.
The Scat Pack must start not much more than 50.
The Scat Pack starts at 42.
So yeah, and like the Scat Pack, what's that? That's still like 425 horsepower or something like that.
Well,
415.
I mentioned Shelby, so you could at least make it around a corner. I wouldn't spin the wheel on the Scat Pack.
If I was gonna spend $50,000, in theory, I can go buy a used 911. In theory, I can go buy a used GTR.
New cars. We're not talking. You can get. I'm talking about $50,000. You can get. There's tons.
I'm not even. But are they really old cars when they're a year old? Like you can get a 2017.
We're talking about MSRP comparison, though. We're not talking about
MSRP comparison. You can get a fucking M2 BMW, which is basically that car, which is better than that car, than a Z4.
That car doesn't have more than 300.
It doesn't matter. It's still a better car.
Yeah, but there are lots of better cars out there. I would argue if you're
for 50 grand,
car, I would argue a Miata is better bang for your buck, but that's still way less horsepower.
No, a Fiat is not better bang for your buck.
It's
a Fiat.
Fiat 124, which is you take a Fiat 500, a Barth, and then shove it inside of a Miata engine bay.
Yeah,
literally.
A Mazda Miata is not touched by Fiat.
They share chassis.
No. Mazda.
Yes, I know, but that's because Mazda gives Fiat the Miata chassis to put their engine into. Fiat does not have any control over what Mazda does. The Mazda Miata is still their car, but Mazda gives their chassis to Fiat to make the 124.
Yeah, they're called Fiatas.
Yes, I know. Mazda Miata is not touched by Fiat. Is my point? It's all Mazda.
Okay.
My point was to say that the Fiat 124 and the Mazda Miata are pretty much ubiquitous at this
My
point.
point is, I can order a lot.
They're different engines, though.
But they're the same type of availability.
We'll just say they're in the same class.
Yeah, thank you.
First of all, Fiat is actually more of a derogatory term than anything.
Yeah,
no, I wasn't saying it with praise. I wasn't using that term with praise. I hate the new Miata.
Trust me, if you walk up and say Fiat, they kind of scowl at you like a motherfucker.
I can still say this: I have more power than you. Especially to the Miata guys.
Yeah, but Miata guys they're chasing each other's ass about autocross times. They think that those are people that do momentum style racing. They take pride in not having power and going slow, and they're like, "Yeah, it's better." I'm like, okay.
You can't tell me that Spec Miata racing isn't some of the most amusing shit in the world.
Spec Miata
adorable. It is so adorable.
Spec Miata is.
Yeah,
but regular Miatas chasing other Miatas is not fun at all.
Stay away from that mentality because they like to say, "Well, you don't need all that power. It's all about momentum. You need to learn how to control the car, and you should never add more power." I'm like, "Fuck you! I don't. Yeah, drive this thing on the street. That's great for that 1 weekend a month. I'm at autocross, but then I hate the car the rest of the time."
That's what the new Supra is going to be. You're excited when you first buy the car and drive it up the line, and you have to realize, hey, it's a overpriced Z4. I could have whatever use Z4.
It's got a closed dash. It's got 4 drives. It'll make the power. You just be because
I think we should reserve some judgment.
I reserve very little judgment. I reserve very little judgment because this is still a heavy car.
It's not heavy.
There are lots of heavy cars.
It's 3,600 pounds.
That's not even that bad.
The Z4 is not one of those cars that handle great.
Okay,
if I remember correctly, the new Supra is lighter than the Mark IV by like 200 pounds.
100 pounds, but still. That being said, the Z4 is not a chassis known for amazing cornering or amazing handling.
Yeah, but it's been redesigned. It's
a failed chassis.
We haven't seen any reviews.
The Z4,
any driving reviews of it yet.
By the way,
okay, I can't. I'm not.
The Supra is actually 3,300 pounds. Which puts it in M3. It puts it in E46 M3 territory.
Are you sure? Are you sure the Supra that we're talking about, the Z4 based Supra, not the 4-banger, is 3,300 pounds?
Okay, well,
the big Supra.
Okay, 30. That's what they said. I don't know. They didn't give me everything.
Because that sounds more like the 4-banger. That sounds more like the 4-banger's way.
In today's car market, a 3,300 pound car is considered light.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
Considering that it's going to have, considering it's going to have like heated seats and air conditioning and fucking.
Well, you know what else has that? You know what else has that with similar horsepower?
What?
Civic R.
The what?
The Civic Type R.
Yeah, but that's front wheel drive.
Doesn't matter.
That's not.
It matters to me.
No, that's not in that market. In the GT car market, GT cars.
I don't care. I'm talking about the same price point. 50. We're using 50 grand as a price point, right?
The Civic Type R is high 30.
45,000. It's 45,000.
That's not in the Supra price range. The Supra starts at 50. The Type R plateaus at 45.
But still has the same, basically the same horsepower with more practicality.
God. It's like saying a snowmobile and a hang glider are in the same market. They're not.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that the Supra is this Grand Touring track car, historically speaking.
The
and so is Type R.
Is not a Grand Tour, and
I'm not saying it is. It's a track car, though.
No,
it's supposedly a track car, though. It is supposedly yes, it was.
wasn't. No,
yes, it was.
This is the most facile comparison.
The Mark IV and the Mark III were never supposed to be sports cars. They were supposed to be grand touring cars.
Because
it doesn't help. It still doesn't.
Weight doesn't matter in grand touring.
And on top of that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about now how they weren't supposed to be, but they were. They were never supposed to be amazing cars. They weren't really amazing cars by today's standards, but for back then, they were pretty good cars.
People hated it because the Mark III Supra was a somewhat luxurious touring car, and when the stripped down Mark IV came out, people fucking despised it. They hated it.
The only reason why the Mark IV is so revered in America is because we never got it. We were thirsting for a freaking Supra.
Okay.
And we only got the Mark IV. We only got the Mark IV.
What are you
talking about? North America got the Mark III and America got all the Marks.
We never got the good ones. We got the crap stuff. We got the stuff that was low on power and high on safety.
We didn't get the 1J, but we got the 7.
Yeah, you did. I've seen first gens rolling around up here.
Okay. Let me clear something up for Tom. We got all the Supras. We got all of them between 1970 and now. We got all the Supras.
We didn't get the same specifications.
Yeah. We got the Celica. We got the Celica Supra. We got the Mark III.
But we didn't get the specs, the same specs.
No,
as everybody else did.
Yeah, but they didn't. We did not get the 1J, but I mean, to be honest, you can just import the fucking thing.
I mean, you just get it off of
talking about importing
IS300,
but still. That's a whole other can of worms.
But no. All right, fine. But my point is, I don't know what you're talking about, but we got all those, and the Mark III is a good car. It's okay car. It's alright. The Mark IV really didn't. Was it?
I never said the Mark IV was all that.
It's a flop, actually.
IV was all that.
Oh, fuck you.
But the thing about what I was trying to get at is that the Supra was Toyota's answer to the friggin' Godzilla. It was.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
Technically speaking, it was.
The Supra doesn't even turn.
Technically speaking, it was Toyota's answer because it's the only thing it could give.
Turn that great.
I didn't say it could. I'm just saying that was their answer.
Even the JGTC Supra was a 4-cylinder.
That still doesn't matter. My point being was it was still Toyota's answer.
Yeah, but
I didn't say it was a good answer. It's still their answer.
I've heard someone tell me it compared to the Corvette of its time, but the C4 wasn't a good car. And I mean, you're not. The C4 was an okay car. It was an okay car. It was cheap. Okay, my point
cheaply
is
made.
The Supra is
a Japanese Corvette.
It's
yes.
Not. I wouldn't call it a Japanese Corvette because let's be honest.
I would. It made the most power of the three at the time.
Okay.
I mean, I get the comparison because it's a
long nose
Japanese standard,
Grand Touring
large engined, long hood sports car.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not a focused hardcore sports car.
It was never meant to be, and I can respect the fact that they kind of. I could have respected this new Supra if it made 500 horsepower.
It's not going to do that.
But it's not, exactly. I would have respected it. I would have respected it if they made
Considering what Toyota has been doing so far with the FRS, did you really have your hopes that high for the Supra?
I did before the FRS.
I
did. Wait. Okay, let me give some caveat to this. I was expecting good things before the announcement of the 8.6. Then when they announced the 8.6, I was excited for the 8.6 until I saw what it was. Same thing happened with you, Jared. Same thing happened with you. And after that, that's when I started having my doubts about the new Supra. So this is back, 2007? When they announced the FRS? Or the 8.6 was coming out? 2007 when they announced it? 2008?
Well, what the hell's wrong with the 8.6?
What's wrong with the 8.6? What's not wrong with the 8.6?
Don't say because it doesn't have any horsepower. 200 horsepower is more than enough for a small car like that.
It's gutless.
It doesn't have torque.
Yep. The TC is just as fast as it on a track and in a quarter mile, which is sad.
But it's a front rear car,
and I don't care. I don't care. It's a front rear car. I care that it costs $40,000 and it's performing like a $20,000 car.
What are you talking about? That car starts at like 23.
No, it doesn't.
Since when?
I've never seen one go for less than 40.
Did you wait? What car are you talking about?
The FRS. The FRS, the 8.6.
My buddy bought a loaded BRZ for 31.
The cheapest I've seen in a Toyota dealership, the cheapest I've seen for a brand new one, and this is with dealer markets. I'm not talking about MSRP. I'm talking about actual go to a dealer right now and buy one. I've seen them for the least, the lowest amount I've seen was $38,000 in a Toyota dealership.
How long ago was this?
This was back when it was pretty popular, so like 2 years ago when I first bought my TC.
I was going to say, because you try to do that now, it's going to get
Yeah, now they're pretty cheap. But back when they first came out, they were like, they were MSRP at 25.
If you try to charge me $38,000 for FRS, I just fucking laugh at you and smack all the paperwork on before as I leave.
See, the thing about it was, back then they were very popular for other reasons. I don't understand. I think it was back when Fast and Furious 6 came out, and that was one of the cover cars.
I'm saying I can't find any new ones for sale.
It was a great chassis.
I can't find any new ones for
The
sale.
chassis was okay. The chassis was okay. But as me and Jarrett were talking about earlier, they could have just dropped the 2A engine in it, and it would have been just fine.
Okay.
I can't find any brand new ones for sale. I'm seeing every single 2017 I'm seeing for sale is 25,000.
All right.
Plus 25 plus.
Kind of a dead horse now.
$25,000
plus.
Plus what?
Access, title, dealer markup, etc., etc.
No,
you can't. You can't Google if you're googling the car.
I'm looking at my local buy and sell and seeing what they're going for. And
your local buy and sell is 25 Canadian. 25 Canadian.
Yes,
that's a good deal. You should buy it. Because over here, that's 25,000 American. It's the lowest you can buy for 2017 used, which is sad. They're considered nice.
Here's a 2017 at a Toyota dealer for 21,000.
I believe that. 2017 is 2 years old.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. All right.
Here's a 2019 35,000.
That sounds about right. For a completely standard one, that's completely right.
What is this?
I know with options and extras, they can go pretty high. And after taxes and title fees are applicated, you're talking about $40,000.
Oh Lord.
The better part of $40,000.
We don't have to. I mean,
you don't have
not an issue because we don't.
We do.
Okay, yeah. Well, that sucks. Out of your state.
All right,
but in Georgia has a 7%